Farm Basics is brought to you by the Liberty Link trait and Liberty Herbicide from Bayer. The most reliable weed management solution, Liberty Link and Liberty Herbicide are the link to efficient row crop production and sustainable weed management.
During our Farm Basics time today, we're going to talk about what is a herbicide.
Well, the obvious definition of a herbicide is something that kills weeds. It's a product that kills weeds. So right away you think, okay, that would be a chemical, right? Well, yes, it would be a chemical, but when you think about a herbicide, the big thing is we're trying to kill weeds, we're not trying to kill animals, we're not trying to kill fish, and we're not trying to hurt people. So the nice thing with herbicides and how they've developed over the last several decades is that there's been a huge focus on what can we do that's going to be safe to humans, but deadly to certain plants.
Roundup is the most popular herbicide in the entire world, or the active ingredient glyphosate. Let's go with that. Anyway, if you look at glyphosate in particular, it works on an enzyme that's found only in plants. So there's no possible physical way it could ever hurt a human being or an animal. That's awesome, and that's one of the reasons why it is so popular, because it's so safe.
Well, and you look at the safety on a number of herbicides out there and how they were developed. It's kind of interesting, like one of the very popular pre-emerge herbicides that we use, or pre-plant incorporated herbicides, is called Treflan. And Treflan is kind of famous among farmers because it has a yellow color that if you spill it on your clothes, well, your clothes are pretty much going to be yellow. There's really no washing that yellow out. I mean, you can try to, but it's a pretty good dye on clothing. Well, actually, that's what Treflan was developed for. It was developed as a clothing dye, and they found out that, oh, it actually kills certain weeds too, but it's safe to other plants. And that's one of the big things. Brian talked about Roundup. Roundup was famous when it first came out because it was a non-selective herbicide, meaning it would kill all plants. So whether it was a broadleaf weed, like a cocklebur or a velvet leaf, or a grass weed like a foxtail or a brome grass, well, it could kill all of those. Well, then there were crops developed you could spray Roundup in that it wouldn't kill the crop, but it would kill the weed. Anyway, what I'm getting at is when you have a herbicide that will kill one plant but not another, it's called a selective herbicide, and that's mainly what farmers are using, is products that will kill the broadleaf weeds but not their grass crops like corn or wheat, or kill the grass plants and not the broadleaf crops like cotton or soybeans.
The reason why, too, we wanted to talk about safety a little bit with these types of products, these herbicides, is because, again, you know, as soon as you hear the word pesticide or herbicide, or for that matter, chemical, you know, a lot of people are just going to assume it's bad. And what we're trying to say here is don't just assume it's bad. Don't just assume it's harmful. I know there are a lot of people running around saying, oh, all pesticides are bad. Well, that's obviously ridiculous, because everything in our environment is harmful. Everything. I mean, the gasoline you pump in your car is probably 50 times more dangerous than any herbicide we'll put on our fields. Okay, but people pump the gasoline in their car every day. So the point is, you got to look at the good that's being done out there and the actual safety of the products we're using. Another important thing you can look at is LD50. That stands for lethal dose 50%. And the point is, when you look at LD50, and let's say you compare a lot of these herbicides to things that we'll commonly use, like salt or caffeine, you'll find that many of the products we're using on the farm are just as safe, if not even safer, than the caffeine that you put into your body every day. So you got to take a look at the big picture here, and we just want you to understand, as farmers, we're trying to do everything we can to produce more food for our growing world, but also to do it as safely as possible. Well, you may need a herbicide if you want to have good control of our Weed of the Week. We'll tell you how to stop it on your farm coming up later in the show.